Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome aboard the AMX-30 1972, which is a French 7.7 battle rating medium/main battle tank. This is a tank that comes with a good lineup for the remaining French tanks. We have the really amazing AMX-50 Super C, the insanely tough AMX-50 Foch. We have a good SPA in the form of the AMX-30 DCA, and then also some lower tier vehicles that you can kind of drag up to perform somewhat. AMX-3090 technically has the performance, AMX-13 SS11, so you have quite some nice 7.7 battle rating lineup for the French, and you also have the AMX-13 1972. Plane wise, you also have in theory good support. We're looking at the 84 Skyraider, F8F1B and so forth that have good cast potential. So the French seems to be blessed at 7.7. As a new tech tree, that is something that you need to add. And then you play this tank. And you play it and you play it and you feel like you're getting dumber by the day. Because this tank is not just deeply frustrating, everything that you have learned about damage so far within the French tech tree is not valid anymore. The tank itself is not bad. In fact, how the tank drives, how it maneuvers is pretty good. It has a lack of armor. It's very comparable to the Leopard 1. It has actually a coaxial 20mm. It goes back from the kind of oscillating turret design to a more traditional tank design, and there is nothing wrong with that. But there is one thing that I cannot handle. There is one thing that I have no way of giving you tips and tricks how to deal with that. And that is when the ammunition deals no damage. I just can't handle that. I'm incapable of making a tank work that has ammunition that is highly unreliable. So, what I'm talking here about is the heat shell. And no, this is not some fancy upgraded high tier upgrade, tier 3 or 4 like on the Leopard. No, this is the stock shell. And by itself, it's not that bad. We're looking at 1000 meters per second master velocity, and we're talking about 360 millimeters of penetration. And so that all is not that bad. But there are two things that are extremely annoying. First of all, you have no real alternative to that. No solid shed whatsoever, no APDS, no AP, no AP FSDS whatsoever. You just have the heat shell. Technically there is also a smoke shell and a surprisingly strong HE shell, which is in practice useless, so you just have the heat shell. It's not a heat FS, it's just a normal heat. Now there was a dev blog that was stating that it's kind of a sub-caliber heat shell where the outer ring is rotating with the rifled barrel of the 105mm CN105F1 cannon, and the inner core is a bit smaller, but the damage output is comically bad. It's deeply frustrating, and it's one of the most unreliable weapon systems that I have tested as of late. And you know, the tank is limited to that, and that makes the tank horrifyingly bad, deeply frustrating, and not recommendable. Research everything else but the AMX-30 1972 and the B2 variant after that I also had a look at, which sits at 8.7, has other problems, and to that a bit of a stock grind because it also has to deal with this heat shell, and it at least has an AP FSDS, which is very strong. But this heat shell is pitiful. It's the best that you can do with that is to hull break lightly armored vehicles, SPAs and so forth. It's comically bad. I cannot stress out how bad it is. If I sound like a broken record for the last minute, well, it's all about that heat shell. You can see background footage, it's absolutely phenomenally bad. And the only hint that I get from the stat card why it's so bad is the TNT equivalent of the high explosive. Now, the high explosive on a heat shell kind of makes a copper cone go supersonic and penetrate the armor. and then this supersonic beam together with some of the explosion gases go through the armor and deal the damage, and that is not very good. We're looking at 1.02 kilograms of TNT equivalent for the high explosive. That is 25% less of TNT equivalent as, for example, on the Leopard's Heat FS shell. That has, by the way, 10% more penetration and is a tier 4 upgrade, so you can argue that the stock run is on paper not as bad, but in fact you wish you had something like an APDS or a HESH shell if you have the back of a vehicle and you deal no damage. It's just so bad, so frustratingly bad, I cannot stress it out. And your worst nightmare is a Tiger 2. Because if you don't hit exactly the gunner, his APHE will knock you out from any distance. T29 is a nightmare. I mean, good luck trying to deal damage to that behemoth. And it's not just that you have to pinpoint accurately hit crew members or modules, it's also the sheer damage output. There were numerous cases where I hit ammunition and it didn't even blow up, where it just disappeared. There were numerous cases where I hit engines, transmissions and fuel tanks and they just got damaged but didn't set themselves on fire. There were cases where I just hit like a gun breach and it was not damaged, it was just bit orange, the enemy still could return fire and kill me in one shot. It's extremely unforgiving, it's extremely unreliable, it's extremely punishing. That's all that there is to say about the main armament. However, thankfully, you have a 20mm autocannon that is coaxial, and that is kind of the savior of the day. It's not that this suddenly makes the tank good like a mouse or something like this, but it can support you in situations where the main gun lets you down. You can also damage vehicles from the side, something like a Leopard, and something like, of course, the RA251. You can try to shoot at plane and shoot them down, which I have done, thanks to the 20 degrees of gun elevation, which is actually a kind of a relief after the oscillating turrets with just around about 13 degrees and so forth. And you know, you actually are supported by the good turret rotation speed, so it's not all bad about this tank. But it actually gets completely destroyed, demolished by the extremely bad heat shell. And yeah, that's actually all that there is to say about it. So in short, you are jealous of other weapon systems that actually are doing their job if you shoot at the enemy. To shoot at the enemy is not the main problem. Now let's have a look at certain scenes. Object 120, I'm very lucky that I actually kill the last crew member. Or actually that I get a very good hit at the crew. There is an IS-6 and he is perfectly ignoring me. The gun breach takes no damage. He still could fire back. Another shot, so he needs 2 shots to disable the cannon breach. The ammunition takes no damage and the gunner as well takes no damage. And he has ignored me, allowed me to get 2 shots into him. And a pure side shot into him sets finally the engine on fire and kills 2 crew members. Watch this shot. Yeah, ammunition doesn't blow up and the loader also doesn't die. So now I know very well where the last crew member is. Another ammunition hit and it doesn't go off and the gunner doesn't get killed. So I need to go for the driver this time and finally I hit him. This is just beyond belief how difficult it is. And yeah, that was a nice ammo rack, hull break, this time on the BMP-1. I was very lucky that he didn't aim properly, otherwise I'd be dead. And you could see he actually also penetrated the entirety of my tank, set my engine on fire and it began to burn. If that ATGM had hit me, I'd be probably dead. So, I'm down to 2 crew members and I have quite time to repair. Gladly, I am not in the enemy's half of the map, and so I can sort of figure it out. Now it's moving on. Now the enemy knows where I am. You kind of have to embrace the light tank gameplay. Don't get hit and don't make yourself getting spotted. Don't let the enemy know where you are. Again, you have a problem because the heat shell, you cannot shoot through obstacles or fences, so you have to shot through those obstacles to make them go away, and then you have somewhat a good chance of dealing with the enemy. And now, where is the enemy? Where is the enemy? There is an IS-3. Let's see what we can do. Finally, I hit the gun breach flat on. The footage that I'm showing you is the good footage. And the ammunition doesn't get black because I didn't 100% hit it. The next shot finally takes out the third crew member. Yeah, and I had very good shots. Were they 1000% safe and all that? Probably not, but this is what you have to struggle with. This is where other ammunition types would probably deal more damage. And this is where a Yak-9T comes in and strafes me 3 times. Up until I have depleted my fire extinguishers and I burn down. Then there is, for example, this scene where I went around the entirety of the map to finally flank a Leopard. I cannot shoot through the engine because it would soak up everything and it just killed the commander. Not the loader, not the gunner, and I was so lucky that I actually hit the gunner. And then for some bizarre reason, the engine blows up. So I literally was saved by the 20mm cannon. This last scene here, and that's the entire battle, is on Berlin. And you will not believe how troll this tank is. Not just towards you, but also towards the enemies sometimes. I'm going very aggressively in B, and I'm looking around if I can see something. Now there are also these wooden tank traps, and I cannot shoot through them with the heat shell. So I need to kind of shoot them away or drive through them. And I see a Leopard, and yeah, I hit the gunner and I damaged the gun breech and the turret ring. That was a good direct solid hit, and now I have to hunt him down. So I need another shot. Let's see how it goes. I just see the turret and just the loader dies. But it's just one crew member left, right? Is something supporting him? Yes, there is another Leopard. Oi, 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 oi. Ah, and I kill his gunner before he could shoot. And also the commander. So he is down to 2 crew members, but he's not damaged. So I need to kill the first Leopard still. He's about to repair. And this other one, well, he's running. If somebody else is coming and joining the fight, I have a goddamn problem. So where is he? And we shoot and it just sets the fuel tank on fire. Gladly he has to extinguish the fire, but he reverses in cover. And yeah, then we also just make the cannon breach black. We do not kill the gunner, and he extinguishes the fire and he runs away, and I cannot kill with him. I cannot kill. And look at this. Okay, it sets the fuel tank on fire. That's all. That's all. And I receive a shot. So player 3 has joined the battle. The first is still alive and still carries on, and before I can get the shot in, he reverses in cover again. He will join the fight soon afterwards. And now I receive a shot, I don't know, was it an APDS through the, I don't know, through the house or something, and it knocks out my gun. And I'm down to 2 crew members, and I don't know what he's waiting for. I have no idea. Oh, he sets me on fire. I have no idea why I survived that shot. And I receive another shot. And I just wiggle the tank in pure desperation. You know, at this point in time, the enemy got trolled by this tank as hard as I was trolled by the weak heat shell. Yeah, and I desperately ping him, and he actually focuses somebody else, and I get a kill assist. And now I try to still go somewhere into repair and to cover and bounce another shot. What are they shooting at me? Sugar cubes? I have no idea. Literally, I had to show you this scene because it was all that troll. I ping the map and so forth, hope for the best, and there's a Leopard behind me, and he actually doesn't notice me. I'm down to 2 crew members. All my weapon systems are damaged. I'm not quite sure if I even have a shell in the barrel. I think yes. I still have to repair, and this Leopard still hasn't noticed me. And then I reverse, and you can see it just takes this extra second to accelerate. And I have a set, aim for the ammo rack, and it actually blows up, and giving me the first kill so far. Oh boy. Oh boy. No, those are the best scenes, the funniest scenes that I could accomplish in around about 30 battles. And you just have to believe me when I say there were so many cases where it just didn't work. And I tried to get in the shot and I slam it into the wall, have the long reload because of 2 crew members. But that really doesn't matter, because now we're hunting him down. I don't think he has noticed me. I don't think he has notice of me at all. And I think that's an STB-1. Yeah, he has a stabilizer, I don't. But he has a longer reload, normally, but I'm down to 2 crew members. So let's see how it goes. And there he is. And I aim for the turret, and I actually hit the gun breech and the commander. I tried to knock out his transmission from the rear, but he turns around and he actually hides the back of his tank. I cannot rely on the 20mm to penetrate the side, and I just killed the driver. And I get killed by a Leopard. And he can actually shoot through barbed wire with the heat shell. Yeah, that's it. That's the AMX-30 1972 for you. A tank that I cannot recommend, that is just deeply frustrating. And if you still think that it's worth it, don't say I haven't warned you. So that's it for me today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we will see each other on the battlefields of War Thunder.